Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Minority Business Development Agency's virtual Subs and Sandwiches webinar with the Port Houston. I am Marshette Turner, Director of the Houston Minority Business Development Agency. This is our 7th year offering our Subs and Sandwiches platform, and we are delighted to welcome our corporate partners, the Port Houston, today. During today's webinar, all attendees will be in listen-only mode. There will be a Q&A at the end of this session where my team and I will be asking the questions that you yourselves type in the chat. We encourage you to type your questions as you think of them in an effort to maximize our time together this morning. As a reminder, the presentation is being recorded and will be available via email to all registered participants of today's call. Of course, I'm delighted to have my Houston MBDA team, and they are Ms. Jessica Vasquez, our program coordinator, Ms. Tanya McGilbra, our business advisor and alumni client engagement specialist, and Ms. Deidra Sutton, also a business advisor. Again, today's presenter is the Port Houston, and I will now turn it over to Pedro Garcia, who serves as the outreach manager for the Port Houston's Business Equity Department. Pedro?
All right. Thank you, Marshette.
You are very welcome.
Thank you, the whole HMBDA team, for the opportunity and the platform to give us an opportunity to talk about Port Houston's Business Equity Program and our revamped Business Equity Program, and then talk about upcoming construction opportunities at Port Houston. So, Marshette, thank you, Deidra, Tanya, and Jessica for working with us. Certainly appreciate it. So we'll just jump right into it. If you have any questions, it's okay, right, Marshette? Submit your questions.
Yeah. Absolutely. And we'll answer them at the end. Yes, please submit your questions in the chat.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And then throughout the presentation, what I'll do is I'll be sending some information through the chat, some links to our maybe our forecast reports. I know there may be some trucking companies and want to learn how to do business with the port, maybe how to pick up loads from our container facilities or bulk cargo facilities. So I'll send them information through the chat and how to navigate through our process. So with that, Jessica, we'll go to the next slide. Today's agenda, real quickly, we'll give you an introduction of our port commissioners. So we'll do a brief introduction, talk a little bit about our Business Equity Committee and who comprises commissioners that comprise that committee. Talk about Port Houston and who we are and our economic impact. So I'll introduce, the impact the Houston Ship Channel, the greater Port Houston, has in terms of jobs and the economic impact in the state and the country. So you'll be astonished at those numbers. But go over our business equity program, give an overview, our enrollment process, talk about our certifying agency partners, and then we'll talk about the Port Opportunity. I was referring to Port University, which is now rebranded as Opportunity U Training. So I'll talk a little bit about that. And then I'm going to send it off to Eddie Karazi, who's a professional engineer, specialty in civil engineering. He's our project manager in project and construction management department, and he'll talk about some of the capital improvement projects we have here at the port across our 8 public facilities. He'll also touch on facilities inspection and conditions assessment program training and certification. So this next slide, Jessica. This is our Port Commission headed by Rick Campo. He's our chairman of the Port Houston Commission. Our Business Equity Committee is made up of Wendy Montoya Clunan down at the bottom in the center. She's the chair of our SMW or Business Equity Committee, and two other members of the Port Commission are members of that committee. The top left is Dean Corgi and Stephen Don Carlos, who's at the top right. Commissioner Cruzo is not a formal member of the committee, but very vocal, a big advocate for minority and women-owned businesses. So that's our Port Commission. Who we are and what we do at Port Houston or Port of Houston Authority, we manage 8 public facilities, 8 public terminals. As you can see on the map, where the little dot is located off to the left, the top left, that's where the Buffalo Bayou ends and the start of the Houston Ship Channel. And all the way down to the LaPorte Baytown area, you're looking at about a 26-mile stretch of the winding Houston Ship Channel. It's made up of 180 to 200 mix of public and private terminals. Keep in mind, the Port Authority or Port Houston, we oversee 8 public terminals. So we don't oversee all the 200 terminals, only the 8 public terminals. So when Eddie talks about capital projects that we have here at the Port Authority, it's those projects that are across those 8 public facilities. Where we do have, there's a couple of areas where we do have a shared interest with the private terminals, such as Shell, DuPont, Lyondell, Roman Haas, and those many other private terminals. Where we do have a common interest is in 2 areas. One is the security of the Houston Ship Channel and the maintenance dredging of the channel. Next slide. Economic impact of the greater Port of Houston. Now we're talking about all the activity that goes on up and down the Houston Ship Channel. In terms of jobs, they're listed there, 3.2 million jobs that it impacts nationwide. Economic impact in Texas, $339 billion. And then across the country, the economic impact is $802 billion. Big impact. Next slide, Jessica. At Port Houston, we have, under our business equity model, we have 2 programs. One is the small business program, which was implemented back in 2002. Very successful program with a 35% small business participation goal. And that's our Port Houston Port Authority overall participation goals. But we'll set the goals on a contract by contract basis on eligible projects. So the second program, the newly instituted, the newly established MWBE, we like to use acronyms for those that don't know what a MWBE acronym stands for. It's Minority Women Owned Business Enterprise program. This one has a 30% aspirational goal. And so 2 programs, small business program and then the MWBE program. Next slide, Jessica. Now the small business program, just to go over some of the requirements, was of how to enroll in each program. Again, the small business program was created back in 2002 with an aggressive 35% small business participation goal. And right there, it shows the owner's net worth must be less than 1.32 million, excluding the owner's primary homestead and asset value of the business. It is a race and gender neutral program, and it is a local small business program. So it's restricted to the counties that are listed, the surrounding counties of Houston, Harris County. It applies to all contracts over $50,000, but we also track small business spend for those contracts that are under $50,000. Next slide, Jessica. We have the second program that in fact, we're 1 year into the program. It was established back in July 2021. So this year we're celebrating our first year of the implementation of the MWBE program. This one again has an aspirational goal of 30%. It applies to all contracts over $50,000, but our staff also tracks those contracts that are under 50. It is a race and gender conscious program, and it is again a local MWBE program, and with businesses surrounding Houston, having a presence surrounding Houston, Harris County. The only difference between the MWBE program and SBE program, under the MWBE program, there is no net worth, first company owner net worth requirement. Next slide, Jessica. Program enrollment. These are as part of our enrollment process, you will need to get certified through any of our 10 certifying partner agencies. And I won't go over all of them, but the bigger ones are City of Houston, Metro. We also have a partnership with Houston Minority Supplier Development Council, SBA, and then we accept some of the statewide certifications, the hub certification, TxDOT, and also we have a good partnership with Women's Business Enterprise Alliance. Next slide, Jessica. Opportunity U. This is a training that's headed by Kanika Jefferson. She's our training coordinator. And Opportunity U is a comprehensive training program designed to help build the capacity of local SMWBE vendors and position their businesses to better compete for and participate in Port Houston procurement. So the eligibility requirements are listed right there: SMWBE certified and enrolled with Port Houston, currently in business for a minimum of 2 years, and possess the potential and desire to grow and do business with Port Houston. We will start our next cohort, number 3, will begin in the fall, and there's the links and contact information. But just to give you just a brief overview, it's all at no cost to enrolled SMWBEs. We go over all various, generally what we do is to teach you how to do business with Port Houston. So all our topics are Port Houston centric. So we'll have departments that participate in Opportunity U, and they'll more than likely touch your industry, is procurement services. We also have instruction from project and construction management, operations, risk management. We'll have a presenter from central maintenance on how to do business with our maintenance services department, environmental affairs, IT services, and then we'll have a presentation from our legal department. And at the end, host a Opportunity U graduation and an opportunity to participate and take part in our Sam Houston vessel tour of the Houston Ship Channel. So that's Opportunity U. Just to briefly go over some of our current procurement opportunities, we break down our procurements into 2 different categories. One, informal procurements, which are those typically goods that the Port Authority procures that are budgeted under $50,000. So we have some bullet points on current informal procurements, so safety vests, car washing, and detail service for fleet vehicles gives you the bid due date. We'll purchase impact tools for our Barber's Cut terminal facility. And then we also have a console cleaning service for Port Houston Dispatch Center. The bid due date on that is July 29th. Keep in mind that the informal procurements, generally speaking, are procurements where you can submit your bid online once you create your vendor account. So it makes it very easy, very convenient to submit your bids on informal procurements. Now, and I'm not going to touch on all the, Eddie's going to touch on the formal procurements, those items that are over $50,000 that are in the area of construction. We have in fact, today we have a proposal that is due on annual perimeter fencing replacement. We also have a annual wharf and RTG crane painting, annual fender system maintenance, wharf repairs, and then a canopy enclosure and a building addition at Bayport Container Terminal. And it gives you the due dates on those proposal packages. Generally speaking, these projects are eligible for the small business for the SMWBE goal. So in terms of engineering or related services, we do have 2 procurement opportunities in the area of construction materials testing for the maintenance complex at Barber's Cut, and then all Port Authority locations or all across our 8 public facilities. Then we have a Terminal 3 site selection study with a proposal due date of August 17th. And the best way, the most efficient way to get notifications of our procurement opportunities is by going to our B2G system and creating a vendor account, and then we'll notify you through email of procurement opportunities. This is a sample of procurement opportunities. So we're not just about construction, but we also, again, we procure safety equipment, ladders, promotional items, tires for fleet vehicles and equipment, office supplies, pressure washing on an as-need basis, auto parts, general auto parts. We also procure coffee and beverage vendors, overflow printing, and bird abatement services as needed. And then our formal procurements, scaffolding, annual crane painting. We do have a landscaping service contract, cleaning services contract, procurement opportunity, LED lighting for our terminals and transit sheds. Construction materials testing. We also have IT services, environmental and civil engineering services and design work, and then facilities inspections, which Eddie's going to cover. Next slide, Jessica. And this is our team. Our division and department leadership is made up of Maxine Buckles. She's our Chief Business Equity Officer, and Gilda Ramirez is our Senior Director of our Business Equity Department, and then the rest of our great team here at Port Houston. If you need any information about certification or enrollment, your point of contact would be Natasha Ainsworth. Again, any questions about training and development and learning how to navigate our Port Houston procurement process, you can reach out to Kanika Jefferson or myself. Brenda and Luis and Eduardo Mejia, they prepare our quarterly reports and also compliance, also involved in compliance and other responsibilities. So we do have a couple of positions available, one for a business coordinator and business equity manager. Next slide, Jessica. So that concludes my portion of the presentation. I'm going to turn it over to Eddie Karazi. Again, he's our professional engineer with a specialty in civil engineering. He's our project manager in our project and construction management department. And I'll turn it over to Eddie. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. Um, Essentially, what I'm going to talk about, you saw a very wide list of opportunities that Pedro shared with you all. What I would talk about is essentially what the PCM, Project and Construction Management Department, is doing. We have large projects that over the year we procure them. We either deliver them to the owners. It could be real estate operation, and as essentially work that needs to be done in order to get the operation going and have a continuous work done here at the port. Can you go to the next slide, please? Yes, so the projects that we usually have at the port can be divided and categorized. I try to categorize them in a way that, we have new assets that we are building, new projects, new design, new construction. They could be large assets. It could be repair design, a repair of construction of assets. It could be rehabilitation. So sometimes we are interested to take our asset and upgrade it for larger cranes, larger vessels. And so those, we call them rehabilitation. We are improving the asset. And so we do have design for it. We have construction. We have annual repair projects. It's mainly larger maintenance that includes some light design and mainly construction. A good example of it are pavements that we annually repair them and make sure that they are in good condition. We do have some desktop studies every once in a while. These are conducted by professional engineers. We seek essentially the services of PEs and consultants to help us to better understand conditions, evaluate wharfs and assets, and do help us to even sometimes do cost estimation and plan for us the work that needs to be done. Then we do have also FICAP. This is a new sort of program that we have, and essentially it's an ongoing program at the port, and it stands for Facility Inspection and Condition Assessment Program. And as part of asset management, we have to be aware of the condition of our assets, what condition the wharfs are, what condition the buildings, the roads, and so forth and so on are at this point, so that we know and can plan based on the resources we have and based on the importance of these assets. And in order to do this planning, we would need a program like the FICAP. The assets we usually deal with, I try to hit 99% of the assets that we have. There are wharfs, there are container yards, sheds, fenders, channel-related assets. We have pavements. We do have fences, different sort of assets. We do have buildings, not very common, but some we are right now working on, and I will share with you those type of projects. So if you have any sort of experience, expertise that can fit in any of these activities or the nature of our assets, we are always interested to have potential bidders come to the table and bid on these, or provide us with proposals. Next. So if we talk about design phase, if you go next, unfortunately, this year we don't have any design coming up till the end of the year. However, we have a bunch of construction phase projects that are coming up. Next. Here is one example, Barber's Cut. This is a maintenance complex. We want to build it essentially at the very east end, right next to where the Lash dock used to be. You can see still remainders of that in that location. It is essentially the construction timeframe is planned sometimes in the fourth quarter, to start in the fourth quarter of this year. It is a project that if y'all have experience in construction of buildings, utility systems, electrical work, plumbing, HVAC, and so forth and so on, it will be, a very appealing opportunity. Now, as Pedro said, the requirements that we have as SMWB requirements will dictate essentially a pass or fail of a percentage that we expect the contractor to bring to the table. So, for example, if the CSP dictates a, say, 20% or 25% of small business, we are expecting 20 to 25% of small business to be in that proposal, or else it will be, if it's not that amount, most likely will be deemed as non-responsive. So if your company has, say, plumbing or electrical work experience and wants to join one of these larger companies and help them in providing that sort of services in a project like this, that will help that larger company to boost their 20-25% small businesses, or if it's minority or woman-owned businesses, it will boost that points and help them to partner with you and be responsive to the proposal, the CSP, and can provide us a proposal that it will be considered and reviewed. There are other projects, as I said, buildings are not that frequent, but we have two buildings. This one, it's actually not a building. This is a short-term container storage facility. We are overwhelmed with the number of containers coming in. This is at the west end of Barber's Cut. So we were talking about the east end. This is exactly the opposite, the west end. So that one is scheduled to go for third quarter of this year. There are a lot of earthwork associated with the paving, cement stabilization, and of the existing soils, and of course demolition of any parts and pieces that you can see that exist and it's not in a good condition. Next. We do have a lot of pre-development of land. That's something that we do often. This is heavy civil engineering involved. There is a lot of trucking of material, essentially placing topsoil and seeding, draining features, excavation, grading of the land, and so forth and so on. Again, this is a great opportunity if there is parts that your company can do very well and can help a larger company to fill their SMWBE requirements. This is a great opportunity. This one, it's scheduled for end of this year, the fourth quarter, and it's foreseen to go all the way to the third quarter of the year. Next. Here's another building. This is an expansion. As you can see at the very right side, we have a canopy. We want to enclose it and add 1, 2, 3 bays and another canopy. So it's essentially we want to extend this maintenance building. Maintenance needs more space. There is a lot of work involved in here. Canopy erection, demolition, earthwork, paving, pre-engineered metal and building of the addition to this. It's different activities and opportunities that we can look at it. It's about 7,500 square feet and essentially gives our maintenance more space. We would like to start the construction sometimes in the third quarter of this year. And Harvey Ross is the project manager on this. Next. There is a old building, an outer terminal building at the very end of Bayport. And what we would like to do is demo that building and relocate the utility and do site work to prep this location for a new terminal. So right now, demolition, it's the project scope for this building, and we are looking forward to, I shouldn't say construction time frame, we should say demolition time frame. It's about fourth quarter of this year. As mentioned, we do a lot of annual work, annual pavement, annual fenders, and essentially it's bit larger projects for our maintenance. They can't maintain these, so we usually what we do is we have a budget, and every year we go out there, put bids out with the hope to get contractors to come and help us in maintaining these roads. And so we do have one of these annual pavement replacement plans or projects for Barbara Scott and Bayport for next year, starting the end of this year all the way to end of next year. Again, this includes demolition of the current pavement and then essentially replacing it with new concrete, asphalt pavement. And it is a interesting job because it is very fluid, and we would address different locations based on the need of operation. And yeah, that's run by Barbara. Next. Another annual project. So if you all get experience with one of these annual projects, it will be a very I think a very advantage opportunity for you all. This is with our fenders. Our fenders over the years will decay due to sunlight. They are essentially rubber fenders, and they need to be replaced. We do have metal parts of it. We have replacing the safety net, timber logs. So essentially, annually, we have to take care of our fenders, and This annual fender system maintenance will start first quarter of next year and all the way goes to the end of next year. Next. We do have also annual wharf crane and RTG painting. I think Pedro mentioned that very quickly. We do paint. We have a lot of cranes. We have a lot of RTGs. And part of the maintenance, we have to paint, paint them. We have to prime them, blast them, and prepare them. So that is another project. It's an annual project. Again, starts early next year and goes all the way to the end of next year. Another big project is the CY1 North and the middle part. So what does CY stand for? It's container yard. When we talk about container yard, now that sketch, unfortunately, it's going too far in the water. Container yards don't go over water. But essentially, it's what you see on the left, a large space for the containers to be stationed and operated. So we would like to move toward east, and the next step is to prepare container yard 1. We are very interested to do this project as soon as possible. There's a lot of push to get it out. And fourth quarter of this year, we are very busy with containers coming in, and space is really scarce right now at the port. Bayport, we had some issues with the electrical systems, and so we do have electrical connection, but to increase the redundancy of our electrical net, we need to install a trenchless tunneling system to go under the road, and some sort of open cut for a new sort of electrical and communication cables that will connect to this substation. So that is one of the projects early next year. It's a short project. We are thinking it's going to be from first quarter to second quarter of 2023. Next one, yes, that's Wharf 7, a very big project. Right now we are building the wharf next to it. Wharf 6 is being built right adjacent to it. So 1 second, sorry. And so this picture doesn't show right now the construction on there. It is a large construction. A lot of piles are being driven. There is dredging involved, material testing, trucking. There is concrete framing, concrete work, fencing. There is fenders, utilities, rail cranes. It is a very full-blown job. These projects are very heavy projects. I envision right now doing Wharf 6, we have a lot of small businesses involved. And so I'm envisioning Wharf 7 is one of those opportunities that the larger main contractor would need in order to become qualified in regards to SWBE. They need to have a lot of subs that have that condition. Next. This is Barber's Cut, designed in the 70s. And what happens is we're interested to upgrade these wharfs to wharfs that can actually carry larger cranes. We have larger ships coming in, and in order to upgrade these wharfs, well, let me step back and tell you that Wharf 1, 2, and portion 3 and portion of 4 were already upgraded. And now what we are moving on to is upgrading Wharf 4, 5, and 6. It is planned to happen third quarter of 2023, and it's a large project and envisioned to go all the way to third quarter of 2025. This is one of those projects that I called rehabilitation. It's not repair, it's not new build, it's taking a asset, in this case, 2.5 assets, and upgrading them in order to do something extra for operation, and in this case, there's larger cranes. Again, annual concrete replacement for the pavements, same story that we had for Barbers Cut and Bayport. We have it here, and it's usually annual, starting early next year, goes all the way to the end of next year. We have also a bunch of repair projects, and repair projects are, this is on the north side of Turning Basin. We have assets, wharfs in this case, that are about 50 to 70 years old, and they have, patchwork that needs to be done, concrete work, repair. And this is 3 wharf that is in need of repair. We are pushing to get this going sometime fourth quarter of this year, and we are envisioning it's going to be a year-long project. So for our channel dredging, we do have a dredge pipe that goes essentially underground, under the railway, and all the way out on the Clinton Drive. This is, again, a project that we are doing repair, rehabilitation, and it has a lot of tunneling involved, as well as replacement of pipes. Next. Again, we usually don't have so many new buildings, but this year and next year, we're going to have new buildings, and this is one of them. This is the PCC new building that will be located at Turning Basin Terminal. Essentially, a lot of police and port security and dispatch and support and so on will be in there. And again, this is because it's a building, has a lot of building component, from roofing, tiling, and framework, and carpentering, and different sort of aspect that goes into a building will be actually included in this project. It's a big project, and we are thinking that we can wrap it up if we start early quarter of next year and can go all the way to the end of third quarter of 2023. This one, again, it's a land development of 30 acres. It's on the south of Port Road at Bayport. And this, when we say land development, we are trying to prepare this land for future use, and that is heavy civil work, as I mentioned before, on the U-shape land that I was talking about, which is essentially on the very west end on this picture, as you can see. Next. This is Wharf 2 at Manchester. This is a rehab. This is a very old building. Essentially, the project has been, due to design as well as contracting issue, delayed a lot. We are pushing it to have it out there first quarter of next year. This will include removing of the shed, installing new piles, a very complicated project, and I am sure that the main project contractor would need a lot of different subs to help them in the with this project. And I'm myself the project manager on this project, and we are thinking it will take a good year to rehab this wharf. Next. This one is the last one on our set, you guys. This is actually a rehabilitation / repair. It's wharf 20 and 21. Usually our wharfs at the turning basin are on piers, and then the sheet pile is at the very end, close to land, except for three wharfs, wharf 9, wharf 16, and wharf 20, where you have the sheet pile at the very front. And the routine work that we did, part of the FICAP that I talked about, the facility inspection and condition assessment, we found out that this sheet pile is in really, I won't want to say bad, but it's in a condition that needs attention. And so we decided to go and have a closer look. We sent divers down, and they came back and reported to us the condition. Based on that, our consultant have designed and are designing right now the new sheet pile wall that will go in place in front of this. And so there's a lot of work involved in this. We are targeting end of this year to do the construction, but given the complication, I wouldn't be surprised if this is pushed to first quarter of next year. I guess these are all the projects that we have on our plate for remaining of this year and essentially the next year. As I explained, there are not much of design projects, but most of the projects are construction related projects. And if you guys have questions, please let me know, and I would be more than happy to help you guys with that. I'm returning with this to Pedro.
Projects. As you can see, there's various projects, various budget sizes on these construction projects. There's a few projects that are suitable for SMWBEs to serve as prime contractors. A couple were perimeter fencing. There was one for an annual pavement replacement project that Eddie mentioned, and there was a demolition project at Bayport Container Terminal. So if you want to view our projects, our construction projects forecast report, I did send out a link to our forecast report. Please, you can view them. If you have any questions, like Eddie mentioned, there is a contact person there for each project. We have a project management or project manager assigned to each construction project. Or feel free to call us here at the office. I did send contact information.
Yes, we do have questions, Pedro. Thank you all so much. Let me jump in here because I certainly want to get to some of these questions.
I see that.
So, I'm sorry, Eddie, can you hear me?
No. Eddie?
Yes.
Eddie?
Yes, I can.
Or Pedro, can either of you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, wonderful. So I do want to get to some of these questions. Great presentation, you guys. Thank you so much. We do have some questions, so let's go ahead and jump in. I'm going to take the first few, and then I'll turn it over to Tanya to take a couple more. But how can MBEs become successful in obtaining contracts with the port?
I would advise, you want to learn how to navigate through the Port Houston's procurement process, and what I would do is call our office, and we can steer you in the right direction. I would suggest participating in some of our trainings that we offer. Again, Opportunity U. We also have a partnership with a couple of firms, big construction companies in town, Tellefson and McCarthy Construction.
What's a good number they can call for that, Pedro?
I did send it, Marshette. It's 713-670-2588 is the direct line here.
Okay, so let me repeat that so that you all can hear it. All of our attendees, we have quite a few on this call, over 115, I think. So again, Pedro said to give their office a call at the port at 713-670-2588. Let me get to another question.
And we'll ask you to submit your capability statement. That's always helpful.
Yes.
I know y'all have provided training. We provided training on how to develop a capability statement. And so, that would be a good first step. Get your capability statement in place, get it set up, and forward it to us. And then we can review your capability statement and then connect you to the appropriate staff. And
absolutely.
If there
Absolutely.
is a fit there. Okay.
Thank you so much, Pedro. Another question is, what value of importance does the port place on their goals? Are you all simply trying to check numbers on boxes, or are you intentional about supporting MBEs?
Yeah, that's a good question. Why do we invest so much in small businesses and also minority and women-owned businesses? A lot of these businesses, they are in they have a presence in underserved communities, and so our commitment is to those SMWBEs. Not only are we helping the businesses, but we're also helping indirectly with those underserved communities that they're located in. So, it's just not about numbers, right? Our small business program, was instituted in 2002 with a 35% small business goal, participation goal, an aggressive goal. And, the awards for small businesses exceeds $670 million in awards and commitment. So, and those dollars have a trickle down effect into those underserved communities. So, MWBE program has an aspirational goal of 30%. And so, and we call it we say it's an aspirational goal because, the program is just established. And so that is our goal is to reach that 30% mark. So it's going to take baby steps to reach that goal. But
to add to what Pedro said, I assure you it's very serious. We take it very serious. We have a lot of attention from above. That includes the commissioners, and we scrutinize and I'm talking on behalf of construction projects, okay? We scrutinize all the proposals. We go over exactly who the subs are, if they are, small businesses, women, minority owned, to what their scope is, how extensive it is. Is it really a small business? Is it just on the paper? So there's a lot of work going on in this. I had projects that we had to pull it down and put it back up and make sure that people understand we cannot accept, just paperwork. We accept the real SMWBEs, and that's a very serious matter at the port right now.
Yeah, Eddie, let me
Thank
piggyback
you.
off of that. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Derek Garrett. I'm also a project manager in the PCM department, also known as engineering. So to Eddie's point, we have definitely pulled, and for all of the small minority women-owned businesses, we have pushed and we have not awarded them if those numbers are not there. So what that definitely means for you all, and to answer one of the questions that came up earlier, what can you do is when you're submitting these packages that we put out on Buy Speed, be very specific and be very careful about how you answer everything, because we do look at and we're looking for the type of work that you have done in the past and how it applies to the job that we are currently bidding. Sometimes if project experience does not necessarily match what we're looking for, we understand that you as a contractor are trying to show off what you can do, but we are looking for very specifically what aligns with what we have put out in our RFQs and our CSPs and our CSBs. We want to make sure that you can do that very specific work. And unfortunately, there have been those who have lost jobs for that reason. They've tried to answer every question but the one that we are actually asking. But then once again, to reiterate on the minority goals that we do have, they are very strict goals. For example, I'll be very specific on an RFQ that we have put out for FECAP, which stands for Facility Inspection Condition Assessment Program. On there, we had our prime consultant on there. They did not meet the goal. So we worked with them. We kept delaying the award until they went out and found a contractor who was a minority owned business. We verified that through the business equity department. And then we made sure that they were in there before they went to the goals. So another suggestion for you all, if you're not going to try to be the prime, make sure that the prime can find you as a sub, and therefore that helps them push their minority, small business, and women-owned goals.
Thank you for that, Derek. Let me go to the next question. If I have everything I need, including certification, and possess the potential to grow, do I still need to wait 2 years?
Is that related to the training, Marshette? I believe so. The opportunity, I think you have to be enrolled in our in Port Houston Business Equity Program, and then 2 years in business. But I'm sure we can make exceptions. So if they could, Jasmine Lee can give us a call, and we'll be glad to help her out.
Okay. Tanya, let me let you take some of these questions.
I think I'm going to direct this question to Derek. Derek, can you elaborate on the photography requirement? Would aerial photography go under that umbrella?
Derek, Garrett.
Let me see. I think
I guess he is working on the mute button. Meanwhile, I can answer that. Basically, part of all our projects, we do have the requirement of photography. So we need on a monthly basis, bi-weekly basis, essentially dependent to the scope of the project, to the contractor to provide us with pictures. These are pictures as evidence of improvement. Sometimes we use them for grants. We use them as part of our documentation. And so we require photography in the sense of aerial photography, which is done by drones. We sometimes need photography of a local issue. That means, as I said, for example, if we are removing a bollard and we're putting a new one, so we don't need aerial photography for that. We can do that localized, somebody essentially taking pictures. Now, usually we don't acquire the photographers. This is done through the contractor. The contractor is responsible to have a sub who comes in and does the photography. They will arrange for them to have the certification, the permits, whatever goes with it, to fly a drone or to do whatever it's required to do the photography. So yes, we always are looking, or we always include in our CSPs and CSBs the need of photography, but we don't directly manage them or hire them. It is done always by the construction contractor that we hire.
Thank you. I'm going to lump this question into one. We have a couple of businesses asking if you would, if their services could be beneficial for your projects. So if they were to call that number 713-670-2588, if I have that correct, you would guide them to the appropriate people. We have a question such as moving companies, question for a financial consulting firm. If they were to call that number directly, could they be guided to the appropriate person?
Yes, that's the direct line here to our office, Tanya. And yes, we'll be more than glad to steer them in the right direction. Is there any way, Marshette, to unmute Gilda? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Gilda.
Let's see. I noticed a couple of more questions. Where can I find the informal and formal opportunities? I did send the link
Mute.
for our current
Was that Gilda?
informal and formal solicitations.
I'm sorry, Pedro. Was that Gilda?
Yes, I'm
Yes.
on. Thank you all. I just wanted to thank you all for giving us this opportunity to host this training. I was very pleased to hear we have over 150 attendees. So thank you all for that. I'm sure that was done in part because of your hard work, and we appreciate that. I also wanted to thank our team that spoke today, Pedro and Eddie and Derek. They did a great job. And I know there were some questions regarding participating in our program. And I did want to assure everyone, I did write in the chat because I was on mute, but I wanted to assure everyone that we take the integrity of our program very seriously at Port Houston. And we are doing everything within our means to provide opportunities to small minority and women owned businesses. And we are doing our homework and our research. If we suspect that there is a pass through or anything like that, we are doing our due diligence. And we want to make sure that we also provide all of our vendors with capacity building training and networking opportunities as well. So even if there were a vendor, for example, we did have someone way back when we started the small business program, and they actually made soap. And we said, while we, and it was like a decorative soap. And so while we may not necessarily use decorative soap, there may be other partners and vendors in our organization that are enrolled in our program that may. And so we encourage everyone to register and take advantage of the free training and also of all of the networking opportunities. With COVID, we've had limited in person networking, but we are picking up. Of course, there is an increase now in COVID again, there's a spike, but we are doing as many in-person opportunities to welcome our vendors and give them the opportunity to network. We're also going to be doing some forums on meeting with our key staff and also meeting with key prime contractors. So please keep in touch with us, reach out to us. We're always available to help you. I really wanted to thank Marshette, Deidra, and Tanya for all your work. We really appreciate it, and we couldn't do our jobs without you. So thank you.
You're absolutely welcome. Thank you, Gilda. We certainly appreciate the partnership, and we're here, to help you spread the word as to what the port is doing. So with that being said, Tanya, go ahead and take a couple more of these questions because they are still coming in. And let's try to wrap up in the next 10 minutes or so.
And Tanya, there's one. How do I take part in the trainings and get registered with the port? Be glad to give you more information on that. Again, just give us a call, and we're here to help you and navigate you through our process. There's one.
There is one about, it says, once the bids are submitted and closed, what is the port's standard review and awarding timeframe?
Eddie or Derek?
Yes, I'm here. So the process of the bid is usually very clearly indicated in the packages we put out. It's very consistent. The director of procurement is very stringent about the process, and it's as fair as it can get. And so when we receive the bid package, right away, about a day, maybe two later, the ranking evaluation team meets with the procurement team. They sign a disclosure, sort of a paper, and those people will work on the ranking evaluation of the received proposals. Usually proposals, and the reason I say proposals and not bid, most of the construction work, it's proposal based. That they are very complicated. They are not just buying soap or pens or cars. We want to understand the experience of the companies that are actually coming and are interested in these projects. So about 2 days after that, we do our what we call kickoff of the ranking evaluation. Usually we have 2 weeks. Some projects that are way more stringent, it's about 10 days or 1 week if we want to fast forward them. We do our due diligence. Also, small business, small minority and women-owned business equity will look at that and make sure that those numbers are correct. Those entities are actual entities. They will come and report to the project manager, the lead of the ranking evaluation team, and inform them that these companies are responsive. Go ahead, do the ranking evaluation, and the team will at that time review all the proposals and get back to the lead, to the procurement, and report back with the matrix and with the ranking evaluation. Okay, all of this information is usually included in those packages. If you register on BuySpeed, you will find all these packages that are posted, and you can review the process. Now, once that has been done, we take those to ERC, that is Executive Review Committee. That is usually the first Thursday of the month. They will review our ranking evaluation. If they don't have any objection, we are allowed then to put that on the RCA, that is the commissioners meeting. The books will be prepared, and then the last week of the month, usually, not every month, we have commissioner meeting. And then that item will come up. We will say, this is the CSP, this is the ranking evaluation, and the team has selected this company. And if the commissioners have any question, they will ask them. If they are okay with the selection, we go forward and award it. And usually from the point that the commissioner awarded to the point where we actually sent out the contract for signature and the PO. It's about a week, maybe 2 weeks after that. And once the PO has been received, in a matter of a week, we will have the pre-con meeting and the notice of proceed will be issued. So that's a whole story from the point of when we receive a package to the point of kicking off a project. Hope that helps.
Okay, real quick, one question. Do you require that all interested parties go through a pre-qualification process when it comes to your partnerships, like through McCarthy and Tillotson?
Yes, we do have a selection process, and we work with both McCarthy and Tellefson to identify the best suited for those programs. But we do encourage everyone to submit, and they do fill up very quickly. So the contact for that would be Kanika, and I think Pedro already
Email is
provided
on the
the
screen.
information.
Yeah, her email is on the screen at the bottom.
Yes.
Was that it for questions, Tanya? I know I was going through trying to answer.
That's it for questions that I see. I think we've pretty
Wonderful.
much answered everything, and Pedro is included, referencing material to contact the right people.
Wonderful. Thank you all so much. Port Houston, we truly appreciate the partnership. This was a wonderful presentation. You got a lot of energy, a lot of questions, and I'm certain that we'll probably get more once we get off of this webinar. And of course, Gilda, I will send those over to you in the event that does happen. Again, thank you all so much. We truly appreciate our partnership. We appreciate you all being a part of our subs and sandwiches this morning. And we're going to let everybody go so they can get back to the rest of their day. Thank you, attendees. We truly appreciate all of you logging in to be a part of this Port Houston webinar. So thank you and have a fantastic day.